after the seemingly invincible 6th-ranked Rush was finally defeated. Emma the Slime's friend, Olivia, officially joined Emma's team. They were also joined by Kia, a wolf cub who was abandoned after taking on a human form. And Frel, the robot who once believed that vengeance was his sole reason for existence. During this period, Olivia awakened a new skill, her ego rage, while Frel gained a special passive ability called Overcharge, which he skillfully used to help them overcome the exam proctors. All these favorable circumstances miraculously converged, leading them to victory in their battle against the 5th-ranked Cynthia. This allowed them to recover 2 crucial items, with only 4 remaining to be found. Ignis understands that once she collects all 6 items, she can use them to resurrect her beloved brother, Taphas. With each ego awakening, she gains a deeper understanding of how to utilize her current form. To truly become powerful, Ignis needs to learn and experience a wide range of emotions. As long as the flame of her life continues to burn, she must persevere, regardless of how arduous her journey becomes. Ignis carried Olivia on her back, and feeling that Olivia needed to rest, gently placed her under a tree. Olivia was in a weakened state, but with great difficulty, she managed to speak, expressing her gratitude for being saved. Ignis then turned to Frel, asking him about his next steps. Frel smiled, admitting that, truthfully, he wasn't sure what to do as he hadn't made any plans. He shared with Ignis that Olivia had spoken about her after their test, mentioning Ignis's quest for revenge for her brother. Frel confided that he had experienced something similar in the past, though certainly not as profound as losing a family member. It all began with a simple notion. He recalled the fundamental questions he once posed to himself: why do I exist? Why was I ever born? At that time, he simply chose revenge against an enemy he deemed suitable, but it ultimately proved to be a misunderstanding. Waving his hand at Ignis, Frel suggested that perhaps seeking such a purpose might be the true essence of having a hirtan endless search for what one should live for or how to live. Although he was reluctant to admit it, he realized he was right. Having a heart was indeed complex. Ignis inquired about his immediate plans. Frel smiled again, guessing that he would have to figure that out from now on. Ignis sensed a peculiar feeling, as if Frel was organizing his thoughts, and she trusted that he would find his answers after her own revenge was complete. Ignis perceived Frel as wise and was confident he would soon discover his path. Frel grinned, clenched his hand, and extended it towards Ignis. They bumped hands, and Frel began to walk away. Meanwhile, Olivia lay on the ground, eating some flowers. Her eyes fluttered open, and as soon as they did, she began to cry loudly. The creator observed that Ignis had already found 2 items, musing that she was far more capable than he had anticipated. He recalled the meteor sword and grinned, hoping Ignis would arrive at its location sooner rather than later, believing that a game should inherently be enjoyable. A newscaster then delivered a report about the popular game Hidden Ego. He announced that an anonymous player had submitted a shocking report and, holding up a video clip, requested the authorities to review it. The video revealed significant recent changes among monsters. He was certain that not many people were aware that monsters with egos, or ego monsters, were emerging. The reporter informed viewers that more such reports had been filed, detailing instances of humanoid monsters roaming freely and even communicating in their own language. Some players had begun testing these monsters with human world knowledge, while others simply chose to hunt them down. Yet, a faction of players desired to protect these ego monsters. The reporter then posed a question to everyone: what would be the right course of action now that they knew these monsters possessed souls? He concluded that this issue demanded further discussion and, for now, it remained a matter within the game. After delivering the report, the program concluded. The scene shifted to Kang-woo, who asked Rush if he truly wanted to disclose such vital information. Rush agreed, telling Kang-woo it didn't matter because everyone who cared already knew. He expressed disbelief that Cynthia had betrayed him for a faulty item, attributing his loss to her because of that crummy item. Kang-woo could see that things were about to become chaotic. Rush declared that what goes around comes around and that Cynthia would get what she deserved. He believed they had just gotten rid of her before her full awakening. He then asked Kangwoo if he understood the extent of their loss. Kangwoo began to laugh while standing with a bandaged man. Rush asserted that if players started massacring the ego monsters of this world, then the Red Cape was to blame. He grinned, determined to capture Ignis. A girl wearing a hood appeared nearby. A small rabbit monster wondered if Ignis would indeed be blamed if people began killing the monsters. The rabbit monster exclaimed that they should never have allowed players to learn about ego monsters, calling the hooded girl a dummy for not keeping quiet. If the monsters ever faced danger, Ignis would surely be held responsible. Olivia told Ignis that her ears felt itchy. Ignis looked at Olivia, asking if something was wrong. Olivia replied that she thought someone was badmouthing them. Ignis then dismissed it, realizing she was just thinking about Olivia's clothes that they had left at the castle. Ignis informed Olivia that while the outfit suited her, it had a few issues, so they should get her out of it as soon as possible. Olivia was overjoyed at the prospect, asking Ignis if she looked great in her current attire. Ignis suggested they exchange more information before heading to their next destination. Olivia revealed that she had acquired the Ego of Rage, a skill called Seed of Fate, which she had planted inside the castle. It was an ultimate skill that allowed her to bloom a legendary level flower after a random count. She wondered why all her skills were related to flowers, despite her being a slime. Ignis then asked Olivia if she remembered losing her life in the Hidden Gardens Rush event. Olivia recalled it, stating that her ego was destroyed then, and she believed she respawned as a common monster in that exact spot. Ignis began to ponder that, by the looks of it, Olivia's death and respawn might have caused her attributes to intermix with her surroundings. When Olivia died and respawned, her ego had perished, and it was perhaps due to that error that her attributes blended with those of the flower garden. Olivia exhaled, "This world is complicated, but the concept of ego is the most confusing." She explained that when her skills were locked during her first battle with the Coin Guild, it wasn't because she had lost her power, but because she hadn't yet developed an ego. In this world, she learned more about using her body with each new emotion she acquired. It was as if the world was attempting to transform them, the monsters, into human beings. She wondered about the ultimate purpose of all this. Ignis then asked Olivia what kind of flower she had planted in the castle. However, Olivia was unsure, as she hadn't seen it herself. A notification about an unknown seed then appeared within the castle, stating that the seed of the unknown would bud in 180 by 9909,999 seconds. Olivia smiled, certain that whatever it was, it would be magnificent. Ignis suggested they move on and begin their journey. Olivia inquired about their destination. Ignis informed Olivia that the cross-bearing guy had told them the fourth-ranked individual was a vagabond, and the third-ranked was the World Tree. She reasoned that finding a wandering vagabond would be more challenging. Thus, Ignis decided to search for their next destination in the direction of the World Tree, and they began their journey towards it. However, the world isn't solely about killing and being killed, even for the top-ranked individuals. The third-ranked person, whose name is Nandemic, held his weapon tightly, resolute in his decision. He activated his skill to plow the field, feeling immense satisfaction in being able to farm again in this game, believing he was too old for it in real life. Nandemic spotted some sacks in the distance and sat down on the ground. A water pipe spurted, and Nandemic felt as if it was going to be a bumper harvest this year. Just then, an aged man stepped into the area. This man, Huang Sayakaon, was a novice class. He observed that Nandemic had not given up farming in the game and remarked that Nandemic should explain why anyone would wear armor while farming. Nandemic asked Huang if he was at it again, questioning if he ever got tired. Huang reminded Nandemic that he was the one who started playing this game in the first place, asking if Nandemic didn't think he had already done enough. Nandemic retorted that if that was all Huang had to say, he wasn't listening, waving him off. Huang insisted that Nandemic had done enough to atone for whatever past transgression and requested him to return to teaching. Nandemic refused, asserting that he couldn't do that because he had a responsibility. Huang gritted his teeth, frustrated by Nandemic's stubbornness. As Nandemic turned back to his farming, he asked Huang why he didn't give it a try, stating that he wanted to play properly if Huang was truly interested. However, Huang knew he was too old for it. Nandemic laughed upon hearing Huang, believing that no one truly knew until they tried for themselves. A few days after the battle with Cynthia, they arrived at their next stop, which didn't seem like much of a destination. It was the 5th annual agriculture festival. Upon seeing it, Ignis asked Olivia if they had taken a wrong turn. Olivia, however, was overjoyed and enthusiastically pointed it out to Ignis. At that moment, a man approached them, assuring them that they had indeed come to the right place. The man, who introduced himself as Kim Natural, the festival MC, welcomed them to the agriculture festival. He then began to pull both of them towards the application forms. Olivia, running alongside, told Ignis they should definitely give it a try. Ignis questioned Olivia's sincerity, asking if she was joking about the 5th annual agriculture festival. On the other side of the story, a skeletal figure on Glow's shoulder felt stuck with nothing to do, as the absolute quest was still far off. Glow observed that there was still much karma to go through. He stopped at a certain point, sensing an immense power emanating from within. He smirked, believing that this was going to be fun. A monster awakened from its slumber, wondering how long it had been asleep. She thanked the familiar scent for waking her up, sensing a hint of human mixed with what she was sure was the scent of Floritha's son. She questioned if it was Taffas. Glow was stepping towards the monster, from which the immense light was emerging. The monster saw his arrival and was shocked to realize he wasn't Taffas, but merely a human. Although she had expected Taffas, Glow was surprised to be called a mere human. He assured her he would make her regret saying that. He activated his skill, Curse Bone Tree, and struck the monster. The monster remained unharmed by Glow's attack and glared at him. She activated her blaze, burning his bone tree. Glow was astonished that the monster had burned his bone tree and that the heat had poisoned the air. He knew this would have been dangerous if not for his high level and class. He activated his skill, Bone Soul Cage, and leaped towards the monster. He jumped on the monster and punched her. The monster was sent flying a considerable distance after his punch. In the meantime, Glow activated Soul Explosion, clenched his hand, and used Taffas's item. The monster was stunned to see him using Taffas's item and demanded to know how he had acquired it. Glow had no idea. When she got behind him, she clenched her hand and snatched the item from him. She told Glow that the item belonged to Taffas, Ignis's brother. Glow became frustrated with the monster, insisting that it wasn't her item. The monster then used her skills, and as soon as she activated them, chains appeared. She told Glow that he wasn't the only one who could use skills. Glow sighed, realizing he hadn't noticed this earlier. She then shattered the object that had held Glow, believing the time had come for her to fulfill her promise. The scene shifted back to the festival, where Kim began a brief introduction to their event. He explained that it was an annual occasion featuring contests with numerous fabulous prizes. Additionally, users who didn't enjoy player-versus-player combat could earn absolute quest rewards. Ignis asked what an absolute quest entailed and if they needed one. Kim opened a screen in front of her, revealing 12 million points. Kim was shocked by the amount, believing it was enough for her to compete in the absolute battle. He told her she needed to defeat one of the top rankers to earn that many points. Olivia informed Ignis that she had about 60,000 points, adding up what she received from the Hunter, Adventurer, and Proctor, making 12 million seem like an enormous sum to her. Kim assured them that if they didn't need absolute points, there would surely be other appealing rewards. They reached the land where farmers were busy with their work. Kim drove rapidly in a car with Olivia and Ignis as passengers. They arrived at their destination after a while and exited the vehicle. While walking, Kim began to explain the rules, informing them that the place was enchanted with a growth boost, causing all crops to fully mature in just 4 days. He told them they could grow any crops they could imagine there. Ignis observed the empty land, which was devoid of anything. Olivia was incredibly excited to see the empty land, becoming overly hyped. Their first mission was to grow the best crop within the next 4 days. Ignis asked Kim where they were supposed to get the seeds. Kim noticed Ignis's eagerness and told her that she certainly couldn't get any there. He asked her to let him explain everything. He told her that they rented out a piece of land to each contestant, like the one they were on. He informed them that farming tools could be obtained in the central area. Pointing in a direction, he told them the seeds were right this way. Olivia and Ignis went to the central area for their farming tools. Ignis saw that the central region was very crowded. Olivia started looking around, observing that everyone else also seemed busy. Kim pointed to a specific spot and informed Ignis that was where she could get her seeds. A boy named Chocolate Mint, a beginner class, realized he simply had to hit the hay bags to get seeds. He hit the bag with his best effort, receiving 4 frank sweet potato seeds. Chocolate Mint became sad, disappointed with the sweet potatoes. At that same instant, another man, who appeared to be a bodybuilder, tapped him on the shoulder and told him to step aside. The bodybuilder concluded that the event was meant for him. He tightened his fist and slammed the bag. After striking the bag, he acquired 200 brank pumpkin seeds. Chocolate Mint's eyes welled up with tears, and he decided to quit the game. Ignis realized that they got seeds by attacking the bag. Kim laughed and told Ignis she could say that. She asked Kim if there were any restrictions on the type of weapon or skill. Kim confirmed there were no limits. Olivia decided to go first. She activated her skill, all-out pitch, grabbed her arrow, and struck the bag using Memorialia de Emma. A thunderous banging sound occurred, and Olivia received 70 brank strawberry seeds. Kim complimented Olivia, telling her it was quite impressive. Olivia thanked him. Ignis observed the situation, feeling a surge of power that even made Olivia a little nervous. Ignis believed they were doing it correctly. She activated her rage skill and delivered a brutal hit. With Ignis's impact, the ground rumbled, and all the other players fell due to the intense energy. Ignis obtained 2,500 rankus plus golden potato seeds. Olivia was thrilled by the hit, telling Ignis it was over the top. Ignis grinned. They both sat in the car with the seeds they had collected. They returned to the same empty plot of land to farm those seeds. They farmed throughout the entire day. Time passed, and by evening, they both sat under a tree, utterly exhausted. Olivia told Ignis she was too tired, as it had involved a lot of moving around. Ignis expressed her appreciation for Olivia. Olivia apologized to Ignis for involving her in this when she should be focused on finding her brother. Ignis laughed, asking Olivia if that was what she was worried about, assuring her it was perfectly fine. Olivia then told Ignis that she wanted to spend as much time with her as possible, as this moment could be their last together. Ignis became emotional. She looked at Olivia, who confided that she couldn't deny the fact that she could have died many times if not for Ignis's cape. She told Ignis she knew she wasn't as strong as her, so her death wouldn't be a surprise. Yet, the thought still terrified her. That's why she wanted to take the time to do something memorable. Ignis immediately hugged Olivia tightly, declaring that they would win this festival no matter what. Olivia smiled, comforted by these soothing words. Ignis promised Olivia that she wouldn't let what happened to Emma occur again, determined to protect Olivia wherever they went. On the other hand, Nandemic went to meet Kim, who noted that Nandemic had finally arrived. He told Nandemic, the champion of their last festival, that they had been waiting for him all day. On the second day of the agricultural festival, Ignis and Olivia stood side by side, and Ignis observed that nothing had sprouted yet. Olivia knew they had used fertilizer and watered the seeds, and since the time limit was 4 days, they should start sprouting any moment now. Ignis began to wonder if they had done something wrong. Olivia told Ignis that they had to try everything they could, after all, it had only been 1 day. Ignis agreed with Olivia and decided to proceed. Both of them started planting the seeds. Olivia took soil and began spreading it on all sides. They both watered it. Olivia then sat under the tree, and after watering the seeds, she started reading a book. Ignis looked at her and smiled. They didn't know what the future held, but they knew they had tried their best, and finally, the last day arrived. Ignis was sleeping under the tree shade when Olivia came to her and started waking her up. She told her to wake up. As soon as Ignis opened her eyes, she saw Olivia smiling. Olivia informed Ignis that it had worked. They had their fruit. Ignis stood up to go with her to see it, and they both walked to the land where they had farmed. Ignis saw the fruits that had grown there, just as Olivia had said. She asked Olivia how much time they had left. Olivia saw that it was exactly midnight and they had to submit their crops by 1 a.m., leaving them 1 hour. The scene shifted to Kim, who was sitting and judging all the players. He looked at his watch, noting that only 1 minute was left. He guessed he could start wrapping things up and decided to determine the winner. Just as he was about to make the announcement, Ignis and Olivia suddenly entered. Ignis was carrying their crops on her shoulder. She told Kim to wait because they hadn't turned in their crops yet. Kim became happy and excited at the same time. He believed the best way to judge the fruit was by tasting it, so he informed everyone he would do so now. He placed his plate on the table and told them to begin. Contestant number 12 approached him with his apples and bananas. Kim tasted both and found them delicious, though he told contestant 12 that the soil seemed to have been over-fertilized. After contestant 12, it was contestant number 40's turn to present his blueberries to Kim. After tasting the blueberries, Kim complimented them but also informed him that the fruit was sensitive to dryness and could have used more water. And so, time went on, and the contest was drawing to a close. Ignis and Olivia placed their golden potatoes and strawberries on the plate. Kim grinned, remembering them. Olivia and Ignis looked at him. Kim picked up both. After tasting them, Kim told both of them that there was inadequate fertilization, watering, and insufficient exposure to sunshine. Honestly, he said, these were quite disappointing. Olivia stared at him, surprised by the negative review. Ignis looked at Olivia and consoled her, saying it was perfectly fine because they had tried their best, which was all they could do. All of a sudden, Kim declared that it was a pass from him. They were both stunned to hear that he had passed them. Kim acknowledged that it was their first time farming. He sensed something unique in their crops beyond just knowledge or know-how. He could feel the tremendous effort they had poured into them, and that was something they wouldn't lose to any other contestant. The girls had done their homework, even though they were unfamiliar with farming. He could still see that they had truly given their field their all for the past 4 days. Olivia became emotional, starting to cry with joy. Ignis looked at Olivia, asking if she was all right. Olivia told Ignis that she was just so happy their efforts were finally being recognized. Ignis realized they hadn't chosen to be born into a world inside a video game, but at that moment, she thought there was a silver lining to this situation. Perhaps this was what Frel had meant. Maybe they were meant to discover a whole new world. Kim gave them a present and took out his camera. He snapped a picture of them with his camera and handed them a participation certificate. On a sunny day, Ignis asked Olivia what outfit she had received as her prize. Olivia asked Ignis if she should try it on. Ignis told her that dressing as Cynthia's guards could cause problems for them later, so she thought they should change it now. They were informed that a fitting room was available there. Olivia was amazed to see they even had changing rooms. Olivia entered the fitting room and stepped out after changing her outfits. She saw that this outfit was undoubtedly different from the other one. She asked Ignis how she looked. The dress she wore was the limited item called the Dress of the Black Witch. Ignis told Olivia that she looked very pretty. Olivia was happy to hear the sweet compliment from Ignis. Ignis extended her hand to Olivia, telling her that this world might be much better than she had imagined. Olivia recalled the memory of leaving Emma behind. She placed her hand in Ignis's. Ignis believed that if not for Olivia, she wouldn't have survived, let alone dreamed of saving her brother. She thanked Olivia. Ignis was curious to know who had come in first place in the contest. However, Olivia didn't think they had announced it yet. Kim had already announced the second and third place winners, so he grabbed the microphone to announce the first prize. Finally, the time had come to acknowledge the first place winner. Ignis didn't understand why everyone was so hyped about that person. Olivia told her that she had heard the individual was also last year's champion. Just then, Mandemic stepped in to receive his gold prize. He was honored. As soon as Ignis saw him, she was surprised, remembering that he was the human who had killed her brother. Olivia looked at Ignis's tense face, asking if something was wrong, as Ignis looked worried. Ignis told Olivia that she had found the person who killed her brother. Olivia clenched her teeth upon hearing this. Ignis warned Olivia to be careful because he was ranked number 3, and she knew there was a high chance he was more potent than Cynthia. Ignis decided to approach him after the contest officially finished. Later, Kim announced that it was time to conclude their agricultural festival. He informed everyone about the exit and instructed them to follow the assistants, also thanking everyone for their excellent work. The crowd then exited the place individually. The scene changed to Mandemic, who was walking alone from the farms. He found the contest much more enjoyable than he had expected, and now he had one more trophy to add to his collection. Suddenly, he saw Ignis with Olivia. Ignis told Mandemic she had a bone to pick with him. Mandemic saw them following him and asked who they were. Ignis told him that he possessed an item that belonged to her, and she had come to retrieve it. Mandemic had been receiving many player-versus-player requests ever since the Absolute Quest became a thing, so he asked Ignis if that meant they were enemies. He became enraged, and they could sense an overwhelming power emanating from him. Olivia knew he must be the one who killed Ignis's brother, so she understood he had to be strong. Ignis had already anticipated this confrontation. Mandemic told Ignis it would be better for her to attack him with everything she had. They both rushed towards each other with all their might. They stood poised, ready to strike one another. The fight began between them, but the monster held Taphas's item. She had no idea how Taphas's item was in human hands. She knew he wouldn't have been defeated so quickly if he had only had an ego. Well, she guessed she would find out if she managed to escape. She moved her hand forward, pointing towards the ground's surface. She used her energy and broke the ground, creating a hole. After seeing the path she had just made, she wondered if she should go. Ignis and Mandemic were engaged in a fierce fight, both attacking each other, using the strengths within their bodies to strike blows. Dust began to billow in the air during their intense confrontation. Olivia saw their sheer force colliding, enough to sweep her off her feet, realizing this was not a fight she could participate in. Ignis saw that Mandemic was strong, but she believed she could handle this much damage, though she thought it might be because he wasn't using his weapons. Ignis realized she needed to understand him better to defeat him. She guessed she had to force him to unsheath his weapons. She created a magic circle around Mandemic. And Ignis instantly activated her skill, Flame Impact. The blazes surged high into the air. Ignis reached her hand into the blaze to grab Mandemic. In the meantime, she demonstrated her fire explosion skills, causing a sudden boom. She remembered that all Zero Guild members she had fought possessed a hidden skill they saved for emergencies. So, she believed she would need to pace herself until she discovered his fighting style. She gripped her sword tightly and activated her skill, Dragon's Call. She held her sword, ready to strike him. Mandemic knew he would be in danger, even if he took that hit directly to the face. But now she told him it was his time to die. Mandemic activated his skill and removed his second shield from the heavenly prison. The flash of their powers began to emerge. She saw that he had finally unsheathed his weapons, and immediately, without wasting a single second, she activated the dragon's first ego with the Rage Truth. She was holding the Sword of Rage, called Meteor. On the same side, Mandemic had also activated his skills. The very moment their skills collided, everyone in the game, including Mandemic and Ignis, felt something, a chilling sensation, to put it into words. They stared at each other as their powers collapsed. They both jumped far away to save themselves from the harm of each other's attacks. Mangacaps saw that they had missed this time and assured Ignis that it wouldn't happen next time. Ignis was also firm that it wouldn't happen again. Holding the sword in her hand, she stepped towards Manhwa. Manhwa also leaped towards Ignis. And suddenly, out of nowhere, Olivia stepped between them, stopping them. Ignis was confused by Olivia's actions. Olivia told Ignis that they needed to talk. Olivia then looked at Manhwa and told him they didn't have to fight, instead, they could speak. She asked Manhwa, believing him to be a good person. Manhwa looked at Olivia and questioned what made her think he was a good person. Olivia smiled and told him they had tried their best in that farming contest and won a prize, which indicated true passion. She believed that a person awarded for such passion could never be evil. Manhwa, after hearing Olivia, started laughing abruptly. He decided to listen to what Olivia had to say to him. They talked about everything they had experienced, including how Ignis lost her brother and their journey for revenge. Manhwa asked them if they meant they were ego monsters. Ignis agreed and further informed him that he possessed one of her brother's items. Suddenly, a notification appeared in front of him about the hidden quest of the World Tree. He read the line on the screen, stating that he needed to save the World Tree from evil beings. It was mentioned that if he failed, the balance of this world would collapse. He was supposed to defend his world. But he realized it was his world that he needed to save his life. He asked Ignis if she didn't want this world to collapse. He decided to make a deal and, in that case, took out Tafas's item, which he had with him, Tafas's armor. Ignis saw her brother's item. Manhwa offered Ignis to complete the quest with him, and then he would give her the item from her brother. Olivia told Ignis that they should give Manhwa a chance. And so, Ignis, the Dragon of Destruction, Olivia, the Flower Slime, and Manhwa, ranked 3rd in guild number 0, miraculously decided to join forces for a common quest. The chilling sensation that Ignis and Manhwa felt during their battle had transcended beyond them to the rest of the world, including the cross-bearing guy who saw that it had finally begun. The scene moved to some monsters who thanked the cross-bearing guy for saving them, as he had saved all their lives. Over half of them had been killed by a human intruder, but thanks to him, the rest had survived. The monster told the cross-bearing guy that they were very thankful he came to save them, but they couldn't help but wonder why he did that. The cross-bearing guy told them it was not yet time for the ego monsters to die. However, he believed they wouldn't understand even if he told them, but he thought the dragon girl, Ignis, might find the answer if they were lucky. One of the monsters asked him what he meant by saying this. The cross-bearing guy opened his wings. He started flapping them and, without saying a single word, simply flew away. The monster concluded that the cross-bearing guy was like an angel. That chilling sensation meant that it had come to life at last. If that was true, then there was only one thing it would head for before anything else, the World Tree. The cross-bearing guy knew this would happen one way or another. He didn't know about the others, but he was sure that he would go to protect the World Tree. A screen appeared in front of him. He tapped on the screen and learned that a battle was about to take place. He flapped his wings and flew away. Another window materialized before Manhwa. Gazing at the screen, he mused if these were the precise coordinates of the World Tree, also seeing references to the hidden land of Yggdrasil. Manhwa informed Ignis that someone had just sent him these coordinates. Ignis asked Manhwa if this meant they now knew their destination. Manhwa acknowledged that even if this was a trap, they had no better alternatives. Therefore, he declared they would visit this place and then questioned Ignis about her thoughts. Ignis resolutely stated that if it proved to be a trap, she would eliminate whoever awaited them there. Olivia commented on Ignis's attitude but confirmed her willingness to join. Team Ignis was now en route to the World Tree. Meanwhile, the little rabbit monster felt unsure where to begin her story, but wondered if someone might be willing to listen for a while. It was just a few months prior, when a player had brutally slashed her. She shrieked in immense pain. The player, noting that her kind yielded more experience points than other monsters, found killing her far more enjoyable. He observed that she was the last one left. She witnessed the lifeless bodies of her kin and smelled the pungent stench of death in the air. The little rabbit monster pleaded with the human player to stop. She stumbled to the ground after stepping on the hand of one of the deceased. The human player told the little rabbit monster that it was time to die. She watched him, knife in hand, as he raised his arm to strike her. Pink Wally-Eye, the little rabbit monster, desperately prayed for someone to save her. Suddenly, a guy appeared and activated his skill, Stone Shower. With the Stone Shower, the attacking player was killed. The newcomer asked the monster if she was hurt. She, in turn, asked him who he was. He introduced himself to the pink rabbit as a hero who protected monsters. She recalled that when she made a mistake, the hero who had protected the monster extended his hand toward her. She thought she should not have taken that hand. She took his hand, and they departed from the scene together. As they walked, she inquired what kind of monster he was. He revealed that he was a hero golem and that he saved monsters. She then understood that he was a golem. The golem told her she couldn't follow him, so he asked her to wait. He explained that he needed to save as many monsters as he could, and it often became dangerous. She started crying upon hearing that he was going to leave her there. The golem acknowledged that humans were powerful, even though he didn't fully comprehend their capabilities. He apologized but requested her to understand his perspective. She loudly and thunderously told him to wait. She questioned him about the value of saving a life only to abandon it later. She called him stupid and demanded that he take responsibility for his actions. The golem stopped, turned his face back towards her, and warned her that she could get herself killed. He asked her if she was all right with that. She asserted that it didn't matter what happened, it would be better than dying there alone. And in this way, their adventure began. Somewhere in a hunting ground within the game Hidden Ego, a cat monster pleaded for help. A human player told the cat monster that she didn't deserve to be as frightened as humans. He told her to give up because she was a dead cat. The human player began to advance toward the cat monster, who continuously wished for someone to help her. The human player was about to strike the cat monster when Glow suddenly appeared. He glared at the human player and smashed him. The robot demanded to know how Glow dared to interfere. He decided he must kill Glow, and the human player punched Glow. Glow was enduring life-threatening punches when the little rabbit monster tapped the cat monster's shoulder. The little rabbit told the cat monster to calm down and assured her that she was also a monster, just like her. Upon hearing this, the cat monster felt relieved. The little rabbit monster took the cat monster's hand and told her they should leave. She instructed her that they must escape while her friend bought them some time. The cat monster decided to follow her instructions. Each of them had their role in rescuing monsters. Glow kept the attacker preoccupied while he led the monsters to safety. However, things didn't always go their way. More robots began to arrive. They decided to deal with the interloper. The golem gulped. The fight commenced between them. The cat monster was holding the little rabbit monster's hand. And both of them ran quickly, escaping from that place and ensuring their safety. After they had covered a significant distance, the little rabbit stopped. She thought they had reached a sufficiently distant place. She gave a stone to the cat monster and told her to take it. The cat monster asked what the item was that she was giving her. She patted the cat monster's head and explained that it was their responsibility. The cat monster didn't understand what she meant by their responsibility. She informed the cat monster that keeping it activated for about 10 minutes would warp her to a place where monsters could be safe. She apologized, stating that they couldn't do anything more for them because they weren't strong enough. The cat monster activated it, and a flashing light appeared. She promised the cat monster that for those remaining 10 minutes, she would do everything in her power to protect her. A robot appeared, having found the two of them, whom they had missed earlier. The little rabbit monster gulped upon seeing the robot. They were a small rescue group for stray monsters. They spent every bit of money they had to purchase the cheapest warp stones on the market. It wasn't anything grand or fancy, but it gave them purpose and pride. The cat monster thanked the little rabbit monster for saving her life. The little rabbit monster told the cat monster to go there and live her life. Night fell, and the golem approached the little rabbit. He remarked that they were a mess, and the little rabbit monster laughed, agreeing they were indeed a mess. They were small, but their egos made them more potent than other monsters. The more emotions they acquired, the better they controlled their bodies. They were leading a humble but fulfilling life that they thought would last forever. The golem called out to the little rabbit monster and told her he had heard that humans had names they used to address each other. The golem suggested that they should give each other one beneath the star-flooded sky. They promised to come up with names for each other. On the other side of the story, Tanya was speaking with Cynthia through a screen. She told her not to be so paranoid, as there was no need, the guards would only hinder them. She told Cynthia to wait a second, as she would call her back after some time because she thought she smelled some ego monsters behind the tree.